BNP Paribas, partenaire des plus belles histoires de Roland-Garros, aux côtés des ramasseurs de balles depuis plus de 50 ans.
I think so far it was good because we're in the final. I mean, it's still not the end; it's just half the way. But for us, I think it's all the same. It's kind of managing the energy, preparing for the next opponent, and just as a team to be ready to play. Otherwise, as a performance, I think Aryna played pretty good. So I hope she's gonna bring some level to the final, same energy, and we just hope to see a good match.
All right, we'll take questions now. Carol.
Mike.
Hi, congrats again. I'm just wondering, in terms of her game, to translate it on the clay, what was the biggest challenge? Was it the movement or was it the patience, or both?
I would say it's both, because first it was kind of believe that she can do it, first of all, so we have to show her the way how she needs to do it. And then it was more about the patience to keep doing and trust the process, that she is actually able to, first of all, fight on this surface and then get some wins. So I think it was both, yes. As a player, you usually develop from both sides. And the process is still there, so it's never going to end till the end of the career.
Yeah, I think you're right. I would agree with this, obviously, both. But I think, like he touched on, the biggest obstacle initially was just that her whole life before we started helping her out, was just like, oh, clay's not going to be for you. It's not you. You can't do it. You can't do it. So she had this sort of belief about herself that, well, okay, clay's not for me. And then we're like, but why not? So, yeah.
It's for us.
Yeah. That's right.
If I can just follow up. I read you talk about the way you had to teach her to breathe differently so that she can control her emotion. I'm just wondering, I mean, you'll know too, it's 70% of the work with Aryna to get her here was managing the tornado that can get in.
Sorry, I didn't understand the question. Sorry?
That work to help her controlling her emotion and the breathing, and was it 70% of what it took to get her to world #1?
I mean, the managing emotions is a very big part of it, yes. You know, the breathing is something that you have physical control over no matter how you're feeling. So if you learn how to breathe better, you know, if you can manage to breathe a certain way, it'll put you in a certain state. So you're able to manage your emotions much better. And the nice part about the breathing is that besides that it directly influences how you're thinking and feeling, or like how you're responding to your environment, is that no matter your mood or what's going on around you, you have control of your body. You just have to have the discipline long enough to create the habit to do it, no matter how you're feeling. And so that probably took a bit of time, is to get her just to practice those things and to physically be able to do those things as well. And you know, one of the key things that we always focus on is managing energy, and the other parts are managing environment and managing our emotions, and they're all very, very connected. And the breathing is a simple, not easy way to achieve that. So yeah.
Question in the middle, and then
Anton, you mentioned managing that energy. How difficult is that, coming off such an enormous win against Iga, to then either pick her up or bring her down, adjust it accordingly for the final?
I think for us it was a great match, big win, but as we discussed also after the match, it's like job is not done. So this kind of success of the match, we just leave it for like after the tournament, we're gonna discuss and see what was great, and I think our focus was even today on the practice about, okay, so what we have to do next. So it's like, what about next opponent? How do you feel like what we can do and all this stuff? But there was about the previous match, about the last match, like last night match, that was just kind of a short briefing about, okay, you did great this part, this wasn't great, and that's it, and move on. So, and after the tournament, we can see, okay, on the big picture, like the clay season overall, how it was, and maybe we can talk more about the match against Iga, because might be this was one of the best matches she played on the clay from Aryna, so yes, but it doesn't mean that the job is done. We're still in the tournament, it's not finished, so as I said, for me, it's like half the way.
And in planning for that final, how much do you look back at the US Open final where she lost to Coco, or is it too long ago and a completely different surface, so it's tough to factor that in?
I would say for me to see, like, even if you play against any opponent, is like 1-2 months can change like everything. I remember like we played with Iga like 2 or 3 years ago in Doha, And the way she started playing in Doha was, I think it was 2022, and she was started to play much more aggressive, and we didn't expect this one. And we looked at her match when we played against her in the finals, Guadalajara, and it was a completely different player. And we didn't expect, so I think Aryna lost because as our preparation was terrible. She didn't expect this one. So for me to look what happened 2 years ago is just, for me, it's useless because we play against Coco after this few times, and you still have to focus on yourself more. Then you have a look, okay, a few matches that Coco played like this week, and that's it, because it's going to be a fresh start for you.
We've seen Aryna add a lot to her game, variety-wise, drop shots, touch, slice. She's talked about this. How much was that done with kind of making her into an all-court player? How much was that in mind?
I think it was just part of the journey, how we can develop her as a better player overall. It's more like, okay, you hitting great, unbelievable. So what else? We need to open angles more, great. So what else? What else? So if you push the opponent more back, you can use more drop shots, great. If you see some like short balls, you can finish more on the net. So it's still like a process. So drop shots is just one of it. And there's still so many things like I see we can improve. So it's just like a journey of the player. As I said to her, we always need to find what she can do better. And it should be like just the process, the whole career.
I would probably add a little layer to that, is that the goal always has been, whether it's mental, physical, tactical, technical, is that we understand that what her limiting factors might be for what we're trying to achieve, and we see where she's at now, and we want to make sure whatever level she's at, she owns that level. And as she's really fine-tuning and really owning that level, we're already looking at that 2 or 3 things that might be the next priority. And as she's progressing through that level and really owning that position, we decide, okay, well, this is the next little layer we're going to add. So it's always just these little layers that we're constantly adding. But before we adding too much, we're always making sure she owns it. And then we move on from there. That's why it's just her. It's always coming from her. It's why we, our goal is to sustain the high performance, not just to, be a one-hit wonder type thing. So.
Can I just ask as well, on the kind of mentality side, we see Aryna, she often looks quite frustrated with herself, looks like she sets incredibly high standards. How much, with someone like her, is it about accepting that there is going to be frustration and that that's okay, as opposed to saying, never get angry on court, stay calm kind of thing?
Oh, I mean, yeah, so on our team especially, we have a very simple saying is, don't fight it, don't feed it. Right, so we don't want to fight this because the stress, anxiety, the pressure, the mistakes, all those things are going to be there. So you can't pretend it's not going to be a thing, but you don't want to feed it either and give it too much energy or power. So you just, again, like your point, accept the way it is, understand what you have control over, and just focus in on that. And that's where Anton really comes in and play with like the tactics and strategies for each day. It's very good actually.
No, for me, I just want to add that. As I remember, I think 2 years ago, a year ago, like Novak spoke about it, like during Wimbledon. That it's more about like everyone get frustrated and get those things like, okay, like you just getting angry and that's it. But it's more about how fast you can focus back on your thing. So this is the biggest one, like, because you cannot be perfect, like, and you don't have to be, yourself, accept this fact and think like, okay, what I need to do, how I can change myself physically so I can be like mentally more calm down. So as soon as you like realize what's going on with you, and the answer what to do, is just easier for you to move on.
That's true.
I want to follow that subject and ask about the dialogue on court. Like, do you focus on like calming down or redirecting to her path, or there are tactical changes you do inside the match? Do this, do that, maybe suggest stuff.
It's always different. As usually, it's more about like, okay, she can tell you whatever she wants. And whatever you reply is going to be, it doesn't matter, the first. So it's always different. It can be a joke from my side. It can be some, I don't know how to say, like angry words back. Or some like simple stuff, okay, just do this. And she can be say like, okay, whatever. And then she's back to work because she knows like, okay, we understand that you experience like stress right now. That's okay. So, okay, what's next? So she can see from us that's okay. We understand. Sometimes, especially as you can see, like when she cannot do something, like let's say for like few points or like even the games, yes, you say like what she has to focus in on right now.
Hey there. She's, you know, as you say, she's an emotional person, and she's got big dreams, both on the court and also off the court. How do you sort of, when you have a big event like tomorrow coming up, how do you sort of get her to sort of dial in on the small picture and, you know, sort of set aside the stuff that she's looking to accomplish elsewhere? Because it sort of goes hand in hand, and, you know, we all know, as she's talked about it with us, like, she thinks about it hand in hand, and, you know, it's going to be in her mind. It's always in her mind. So how do you sort of get her to balance those things and then sort of just dial in?
For me, it's from my side, it's about address it like to her, like I say, yeah, we all experience the same way as you, and it's totally it's actually pretty good. That's mean you have your goals, like your standards, pretty high. So, and right now, okay, in this kind of situation, what we can do right now? Let's do our simple steps even more smaller. So let's say you go on the court, what you can control? You can control breathing. We start with breathing. That's the first step. The second, you can move. Just control your move, the way you move. Just focus on recovery step, nothing else. Just do just this thing, and as soon as you realize that you have some sort of control through breathing and the moving, you can add something else. So you just try to get all this big picture. You're not saying like it's never happened. Like no, it is always here, but try to use it as a fuel for you. So it's motivate you to do better. But start with the small steps: breathing, moving, acceleration, and then go like and step by step. That's for me. And I think as soon as you have this control, it's just better for you to use these expectations and your dreams as motivation.
I mean, I would just add a little bit later to that is just the same thing as I said earlier. We don't fight, we don't feed it. We understand it's there. We address it however it fits best in that moment. You know, often it is just finding whatever you have a sense of control over, because as soon as you have a sense of control of something, the negative side of stress doesn't have that big impact on you. So it's just looking for any little thing you can to have a sense of control. But the other part really is that, I mean, have you guys seen us in a lot of finals now, right? And have you, I mean, maybe seen the way we warm up or what we do. Does it look any different than round one at some random tournament? It's the same thing. We're just doing what we do. We're who we are. We don't treat one thing too much more better or bigger or more important or less important. We understand that there'll be these things, like I said, these big things will come up and you'll start thinking about, oh, you're so close. But on our day-to-day, our actions influence how we're feeling and what we're able to, you know, how we can compete. So we just continue to be consistent the way we act and how we speak and our mannerisms. And the last little thing I'll say is probably the biggest thing is just the environment, is that, you know, the way we behave, the way we're responding to the stress is the same. You know, we have to be the stable one so that way the environment is stable. So she has a strong foundation to support her. So, yeah.
To follow up on that, how tricky is the mental preparation in these 24 hours coming after a win over Swiatek at the French Open, having beaten the 4-time champion, and going 48 hours later into a final with possibly the trophy for her to win?
I mean, for me, honestly, as we have the previous questions about it, for me personally, I don't see like it was a great match against Iga, but I don't see it as something like as a huge win right now. Maybe I don't know, in a few weeks, a few months, I will look back and say like, yeah, it's great. But for now, I don't see that it was something like special. There was great match, great battle, incredible opponent. But for us, when we come on the tournament, the job is not done. So we don't experience this kind of high like emotions right now. It's like, okay, it was a next step, great level, good quality, but we need to move on and to do something else. So we don't have this kind of like, I would say, high and lows. So we're like, okay, it could be like, let's say like yesterday, it could be like maybe terrible quality, let's say match, something like this, and she would still win. It doesn't mean that something's going to change in our emotions. So it's like the same results is here, great, but what next? We have to do like, next day we have to be ready.
I mean, yeah. No, it's okay. I would just agree. I agree. It's just, you know, again, just taking it one day at a time. We don't really, I mean, we're still here. The job is far from over. It's a very big day tomorrow. And
yeah, maybe more emotions about, I don't know, over the whole tournament, over the match against Iga, we're gonna experience later on, but nothing for now, to be honest.
I mean, our job is always, like, as he mentioned, is that, while everyone is in that moment celebrating, we have to be a little bit ahead of ourselves and already planning ahead what's next, what's been working well, what needs work, what's our plans. So for us to sustain this level, first to get here, now to sustain it, we have to always be forward thinking. The team and everyone can have that enjoyment. Aryna can celebrate all that. We'll have a brief moment, but for us, it's like, no, we just need to make sure that we're guiding the direction of what's happening. So, we enjoy it, but I'm sure maybe once that last ball hits tomorrow night, we'll all go, oh. We'll all feel it, so yeah.
Hey guys, thanks for being here. Question about Shane and his analytics team and your guys' use of analytics over the years. How important has it been for you guys to have that information to aid in the development of Aryna's game and also to aid in the development of you guys coaching her? Yeah,
we were lucky actually to find the guy. I think we've been in Australia.
Yeah,
I think Jason gave me the contact from Shane, yes. I would say we using this information more about ourselves. Because for me it's really important to focus on how you can develop, what you can do better, how we play. We can see inside, okay, the way we play, how we spin the ball, where our targets are, how they actually working against the opponents overall, against someone especially one of the players, or let's say the one with lefty player. So you can see all those insights. And it's much easier for you to practice, because for me the most important part, the actual match, you have to do on the practice side. So wherever you're doing, you cannot go on the court and okay, I'm gonna do something else. You have to be ready for this one. You have to practice this. So you have to see it before, and those numbers actually help you. Yes, you see lots of videos, you can see some matches from yourself, but these numbers can actually confirm wherever you see, or maybe not. And it's just much easier for you to practice and be ready. And all the other preparation for the match is just helping you. But it's not the most important part. The most important part for us is to see what Aryna is doing, and it's for us how we should practice and what we should do. This is the biggest one.
I think something with Anton's done really well is also filtering that information, because sometimes people get overly sort of stuck on the data or on the stats and the numbers and what percentages, and he's very good at just taking the information and figure out what we need right now, what's going to be most relevant for Aryna right now. And then we add that human side. Is so we have the numbers, we know what would be the best percentage-wise, but how is she feeling? Maybe there's a shot that this is what she needs to do, but she's just not feeling it right now. So then he has to come up with a way well, what's planned, maybe what's the other opportunity there.
I just want to add that it's usually also people see the numbers and they can picture just one player, but you also have to understand that there's going to be different practice for Iga and for Aryna. So, and the numbers will be the same kind of, but the practice is going to be different. So you also have to understand the person who you're working with and what you have to use for this.
Just a quick follow-up with yesterday, Aryna's forehand, I believe, TV reported that it was 25% less spin. She was hitting a lot flatter ball. Would that be an example of a use of analytics where you could get information on how maybe Iga handles the flat ball and then incorporate it?
Altogether, yes. We can see that Aryna should play with much more aggressive, especially on the clay against Iga, because she will have more time here. So Aryna should have stepping in more to play on the rise all the time, not to give Iga lots of time. Because otherwise, as you said, 25%, if she would play less speed or spin, so most likely Iga would have more time to move Aryna around. So yes, it was one of this.
Just wanted to ask, you were talking before about how you want it to feel like any other tournament in some ways, to an extent. But what about the fact that here, the last 2 years have been really difficult, really tough losses for very different reasons. But how much? And Aryna talked at the start of the tournament about coming in and being even more determined as a result. How have you guys managed that? The fact that coming back here, it might bring back some disappointments. Do you embrace that? Do you accept that, or do you try and just reset and refresh?
It's a little bit of everything. I think some of it's trying to figure out if there is something that is going to be bothering her and it's there. How can she use that to kind of fuel a fire inside of her rather than making it like a challenge? So sometimes for her, it's if there's an obstacle, she really wants something. She's very stubborn that way, which is sometimes not good for us. But I think it's more about just trying to help her, like, just, you know, again, not really fighting or feeding it, just accept what it is and then figure out how to use that as either fuel or how, you know, I mean, depending on what the specific thing might be, you know, do we want to feed that a little bit extra, like kind of like use that to kind of help kind of give her a little bit extra, you know, an added layer of motivation or something when she needs that extra little bit? Or do we kind of just like, oh yeah, you're right, and then we just blow it off and then it kind of just fizzles away because we don't react to it or we don't respond to it. So I think it might vary, but I don't know if, you know, anything detailed from that, not really for me though.
No, I would say that wherever there was, okay, any match she lost here, for example, we can have a look, okay, it was disappointment, but why it was, like why you lost, so we can have a look what's actually happened, and let's say like, okay, let's do better, let's develop this part what was missing, everything, and then we will see the results. Is it actually what we did gonna work right now or not? Because only result gonna show. So use it as motivation to be better player, and at the same time as she knows on the practice why we're doing this stuff, because she remember, okay, say some disappointment results. And then she's on the court, she will have more belief in herself because she knows she developed better. She knows it's gonna like motivate her like, to push herself to do better. And then only result gonna show us actually did we do a good job or not. And that's it.
Yeah, true. I mean, also don't forget, she doesn't like to lose. So if there's a time for an opportunity for her to redeem herself, she'll give that extra little bit at any cost often. So, I mean, we always have that little extra layer there.
Hi. Yeah. How Aryna is off the court? Is she always smiling, wanting to dance like when she comes off the court? And does she still have this positive energy?
I will say mostly all of the time. Yeah. Like she like to dance. She's like TikTok dancing a lot.
Non-stop.
Lots of jokes. So she's and I think as we start working with her, like me and Jason, is about that we more focus on her like as a person first, and then we can see how we can use her personality in the work. So if she likes to dance, for example, and we need to do a break, let's do like a break, like and dance a TikTok, and then continue working. Why not? But
we don't give up too easily. We try to fight, but we know that we're going to lose. But she'll just keep going and going and going until we go, fine, let's just do the TikTok.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a bit of a game, you know, but yeah.
But yes, as a person, as I remember, she was like 14, 15 as the first time I met her. She was the same person. So the same energy all the time. And I think that's what most of the people mention about her, how she's open and smiling in a positive way all the time.
Yeah, this has been a purposeful thing, you know, like if you, not only do you want to perform your best at whatever you do, but you want to sustain it, you know, and even afterwards still have a good life and be, you know, have some great memories and experiences. It has to come from you, like it has to be part of who you are, you know, so we're not trying to make her something she's not, you know, everything, like Anton said, everything we've done, the people we bring in, how we work, it's all based on like her personality, how she feels, you know, alive and connected and supported. So it's very important that, you know, we have to be ourselves the whole time. So again, that's why like doesn't matter the environment. We're like, our environment is our environment. We're always going to be who you are. And yes, she doesn't. She's relentless with the dancing and the jokes. That's for sure.
Some of them are dangerous.
Some of them are dangerous, lately especially.
In the finals that she played this year, did you see any recurring factor in the one she lost compared to the one she won?
You mean the finals, overall finals?
Yes, this season she played many finals. Were there common reasons in the one she lost that you can, you know, correct ahead of Saturday?
To be honest, I think they're a bit different. So it's all coming up with from, I would say, from the stress factor overall. But anyway, it's different. Why? So we always trying to approach not just finals, but even any other match. Is like, okay, why? So if she lost, like let's say in Dubai or Doha, so we see like the reason why. So it's, yes, there are some things you can see like can be the same, but in the bigger picture, I would say there's some different, for me it's just different, I don't know how to say
specifics.
Specific,
details,
yes,
yeah.
details a bit different from my side. So it's like a journey. You have to see, okay, is it like happening the same one or is different? Because if it's different, it's not that bad. It means that if you kind of work on what didn't work before, and if something new come up, it's just like kind of as a challenge for you. Okay, so what's the next one? What's the next one? Because you always, as the player, you develop, you improve, but it's always something can trigger you. So you have to be ready. It's like as I say, like a journey like of development is never ending. So you have to be ready to do like a next step.
Great. Any final questions? Charlie, let's do one more. Yep.
Yeah, this is just follow up on before, but just about coming back here, and she talked about it. I just wondered how you guys felt coming back here, because obviously you would have felt the disappointment the last couple of years as well.
I actually don't have any disappointments.
Yeah, I wasn't either. I mean, we knew what happened. It was something that was out of our control, and you
Yeah.
know, and we've been working well since, and we've developed further since. And
Yes, it's what we're trying to message to Aryna is like we cannot control the result, but we can control how we can do it, and only the result can show us was this work actually what we need, or it was something else. So
yeah,
I don't have any disappointment. It may be like kind of you can be, I don't know, it's not sad, but okay, you always want more. But for example, you have some success before, and you have to be also appreciate this moment. Like, okay, you did well. So it can like it could like ended up like you had like nothing, but you have like right now lots of success. So there is a journey. It's gonna be disappointments. It's so hard to be like Rafa here with the 14 titles.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty rare.
yeah, I mean, I feel the same. There's just nothing really, you know.
And I think as a tennis player, you always like as your journey goes, you know that almost every week you're gonna lose. This is like reality in tennis. You have this tournament every week.
I mean, every practice and match and moment, you know, we have like just a basic thing that we do naturally now is like we just look at, well, what's worked well, or what's worked well, what needs work, and what's our plan, and we just do that every practice, every match, you know, and like I said, the things that happened last year that we can't control. And since all the things we could, we've been working on, and you know, even, I mean, we can see what the results have been even since last year. So
I can just again add, for me, it's the same as what Novak said. It's like, okay, even like you lost, for example, it's more about how you bounce back. Well, how is it going to be your recovery? Kind of.
Yeah.
This is more important.
I think we did pretty well.